Well, good afternoon. I hope you're having a terrific Tuesday. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Tilton and Stacy Spivey.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for watching the 4 to 5 right here on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app. You can get on your phone, your tablet, anywhere pretty much these days.
So many options.
Yes. And a lot of news is happening around the Triad today. We're getting our very first look at surveillance video before an officer-involved shooting in Greensboro.
Officers tell us a traffic stop turned into a chase and ended with a man being shot by police. Take a look at this surveillance video from Monday. It shows who police say is 25-year-old Lewis Harrison III running from officers near the intersection of South Elm Street and East Vandalia Road. Officers say Harrison was armed and was a passenger in the pulled over car. Police say he ran from officers and they say he pointed a gun. An officer then fired, hitting Harrison, who fell in a neighbor's yard.
I immediately came out of the bathroom and came to the window here to see one male laying here in the yard. You don't really expect anything like that to happen. Like I said, my first thoughts was, whoa, like, did this business get robbed?
Harrison went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Greensboro police say 2 people were shot on Stockton Way early this morning. Officers say this happened in the area of the Walmart shopping center off West Elmsley Drive. The 2 injured were taken to a nearby hospital and are expected to recover. There is no suspect information and officials have not explained what led to the shooting.
Winston-Salem police say a young boy was hit by a car while crossing the street. Officers responded to the intersection of Robin Hood Road and Hunting Green Lane for a crash involving a pedestrian. Officers say the driver of the 2010 Honda Civic tried making a left turn onto Robin Hood Road when he hit the boy. The boy told officers he was walking across the crosswalk when the car hit him and knocked him to the ground. The boy received a minor injury and went to a local hospital for evaluation. The driver was cited for failure to yield the right-of-way to a pedestrian in a crosswalk. New at 4, a Rockingham County teacher has recently died of COVID. School officials confirmed this afternoon Jennifer Smith passed away at the end of September. Smith was a teacher at Huntsville Elementary School.
Page High School students were evacuated from the building in the middle of class after a student lit a trash can on fire. Dispatchers said the school resource officer called them at 11:15 to report the fire. Officials said the fire was under control in 10 minutes and no one was injured. Today's evacuations come on the heels of a school safety task force meeting with state leaders and local law enforcement. Governor Roy Cooper mentioned the importance of protecting students and staff and recovering from traumatic events on campus. He said a good example of this, the community response following the deadly shooting at Mount Tabor High School last month.
I think we did see the quick reaction by everyone to this to prevent further loss of life. We're now seeing efforts on recovery because there's a lot of trauma associated with that. And there's a lot of work that has to be done with students and families and faculty. And I know that's going on in Winston-Salem now.
We did reach out to Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools about assessment teams scheduled to visit schools to see each school's specific needs. We have not heard yet back from district leaders.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. The official autopsy report for Gabby Petitto was released this afternoon. A coroner in Wyoming says Gabby Petitto died as a result of strangulation. The coroner's report found Petitto's manner of death is a homicide. Petitto's body was found last month in a Wyoming national park. She was traveling cross-country with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, when she went missing. Laundrie returned home from the trip without Petitto. He is considered a person of interest in her disappearance. Authorities have not been able to locate Laundrie, who disappeared shortly after. The Justice Department asked a federal appeals court to stop a restrictive abortion law from taking effect in Texas. The request follows a decision made by a 3-judge panel on the 5th Circuit to temporarily reinstate the abortion law. The Texas law bans abortion 6 weeks into a pregnancy once a heartbeat can be detected. Private citizens are able to file civil lawsuits in state courts against violators of the law, including clinics or even a person helping a woman get an abortion. Faith leaders from 20 different organizations gathered outside Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's office yesterday, demanding an apology for derogatory remarks he made. The lieutenant governor is getting backlash after a right-wing Twitter account shared a video of Robinson giving a speech at a church back in June. Senator Jeff Jackson, church groups, and others argued the comments were transphobic and homophobic. Some lawmakers want Robinson to resign, but he says he will not. Robinson explained in a video on his Facebook page yesterday his previous comments were taken out of context. The lieutenant governor did speak at 3 p.m. this afternoon in Raleigh. We have a crew covering the conference, and we'll bring you the latest details tonight on WFOY News 2 at 11.
Las Vegas head coach Raiders head coach John Gruden has quit after a number of emails released show harsh comments against gays, black people, and women. The New York Times reported they uncovered hundreds of email exchanges between Gruden and former Washington football team president Bruce Allen. In one email, Gruden reportedly called NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell a homophobic slur and other derogatory terms. He also said Goodell should not have pressured then Rams head coach Jeff Fisher to draft openly gay players. The comment was in reference to Michael Sam, the first openly gay player to be drafted by an NFL team. In a statement announcing his resignation, Gruden said, "I have resigned as head coach. I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt anyone."
Well, we finally saw the return of the sun. It was about halfway through the day we started seeing those breaks, and things were looking pretty good. We're all clear right now. 76 in Greensboro. Burlington, you're at 74. We have Winston-Salem 76, Reedsville 75. Let's look south. Asheboro, you're at 73. Lexington 76, and Troy 75. All right, tonight 59 degrees. We break that barrier. We've been in the 60s for lows for a while, so 59, mostly clear. Tomorrow's a beautiful day. I mean, this is perfect. Above normal for this time of the year, but no complaints. 80 degrees, lots of sunshine out there. So we'll see that for a while. All clear with the radar. In fact, we go out to a wider shot here, and you can see, yeah, we get, you have to go all the way down to just south of Jacksonville, Florida to see any rain. This is a massive ridge of high pressure that stays in control for a while. And as that moves to the east and we get that southerly flow and the return flow around the backside of that high, that'll keep us in those low 80s for a while. Again, that is above normal for this time of the year. Watching this cold front back out to our west, but when you have a big ridge of high pressure, that big bubble of high pressure kind of blocking everything, it means we'll have a stretch of decent days, it looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 7-day forecast for you here. Sunshine Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 80, 83, 84. Saturday, that's the cold front that finally will get its way through there. 40% chance of late day showers, maybe a thunderstorm with a high of 82. And that, guess what? Fall arrives Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 69, 70, and 71.
Online learning and early lockdowns led to children spending more time at home on electronic devices than participating in extracurricular activities. The American Medical Association found childhood obesity increased dramatically since the start of the pandemic, particularly among children 5 to 11 years old, with obesity increasing nearly 10%. Dietitians with Novant Health say childhood obesity can have both immediate and long-term consequences.
Kids are more likely to have physical issues such as high blood pressure or cholesterol or elevated glucose and insulin resistance. There can be breathing problems such as asthma and sleep apnea, even with kids, that are related to weight. And then joint problems are not uncommon. Even GERD or reflux types of issues are seen with kids that are of a higher weight.
Marie says obesity can even lead to psychological issues like depression and anxiety, but says there are several things parents can do now to get ahead of it.
Children are always going to learn from what they see their parents or their caregivers doing. So making healthy eating and regular physical activity a family affair is important, including having family meals together as much as possible. You know, eating together allows kids to observe habits that we want them to adopt. And usually dinner time's the most convenient meal for this to take place.
She says having healthy snacks like popcorn, hummus, and fruit available is a plus, but says incorporating less healthy snacks like milk and cookies occasionally can teach kids the importance of a balanced diet.
New research shows millions of U.S. workers considered changing their careers during the pandemic. CBS News' Janet Shamlian explains who is leaving the office and where they're going.
James Marriott leaves for work before sunrise. A drive starting on Boston's crowded streets and ending on a road less traveled.
So I don't need more vans.
With degrees in neuroscience and global health, the 24-year-old has recently taken a new job in farming. It's a different skill set, far from the lab of a biotech company where he used to work, developing vaccines.
And this is not something where I was like, I don't know what to do, let me just go work on a farm. This is how I want my life to go.
Here, I got you.
On a crisp fall morning at Drumlin Farm, Marriott is not an anomaly. We also met Sean Moriarty, who left his job as a copywriter to harvest crops.
You know, I did not feel like what I was doing mattered at all. And that's why you're like, okay, I gotta leave this.
And physical therapist Kat Steckbeck traded days inside a hospital for bucolic green acres.
And I think COVID certainly sped up the feelings of burnout.
What's happening in this Massachusetts farm field is part of a seismic shift. A July study found nearly a third of U.S. workers under 40 considered changing careers during the pandemic.
What is the commonality among these 20-somethings who are leaving these white-collar jobs for farm work?
We all kind of felt like we were cogs in the wheel of this larger system that we didn't really want to be a part of.
But there's a trade-off. Beyond calloused hands and sore backs, the job comes with a pay cut.
Your income has dropped by half?
A little more than that, yep.
Whether the move is permanent, Steckbeck's not sure. And James Marriott, pursuing a master's in epidemiology, says it's the right choice for right now.
I don't see myself doing this forever, but I'll always kind of keep farming with me in some way.
The pandemic's impact, for some rethinking what's important and venturing into new pastures.
So this is interesting to me because some coworkers of mine, when I used to work at another station down in Florida, we used to have this conversation. What would you do as your retirement job if money didn't matter at that point in your life? And it was always usually something completely different from what you're doing. So this to me shows that, you know, sometimes if you're at that point, whether early or late in your career, when the money is the issue, my mental health is more important. Makes sense.
I think the pandemic has really just changed people's perspective. Do you value your personal life better or money and all that? But if you all were to choose to do something different, what would you do?
I would probably own some kind of like clothing store or boutique.
Okay.
I love clothes and fashion, so I would want to do something like that.
My co-anchor said she wanted to be the makeup lady at like a Belk or a Macy's.
Oh, that would be fun too.
The Mac lady,
yeah,
the Mac counter.
That's right, she said that. And then I always said I would love to be the old guy at a country club that's like the bartender that just talks to everybody.
Oh my gosh,
you have
would
the
be perfect for that.
People, I would love that.
Similar thing, I would love to be a chef at a restaurant.
Cool.
You know, come to Lauren's Cafe or something like that, I'll whip you up something nice. But I would love to cook, you know, just makes me feel free.
Listen, when you need to practice, you let me know.
Absolutely.
I'll be right there, yes.
Well, keeping on the topic of jobs, Triad employers continue working to hire new staff by hosting job fairs. Today, Goodwill Industries partnered with NC Works Career Center of Forsyth County. Some employers include Wake Forest University, Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, and 30 to 40 other employers. Over the last several months, we've heard employers say they've had to get creative with how they recruit new employees. A recruiter with Goodwill says employers need employees the same way employees are searching for jobs.
The pandemic exacerbated that need. There are a lot of people that were kind of stuck trying to find a space in the job market. Pandemic hit, and that really kind of opened up an opportunity, and now employers have really taken this as an opportunity to expand who they're looking for. So instead of needing somebody to be a one-of-one for every single qualification, now they've recognized that as long as people have the core skills, they can train them.
If you missed today's job fair, Goodwill Industries offers resources like interview assistance to prepare you for breaking back into the job market. Do you have any advice for getting a job? Comment on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be right back. A solar flare hit Earth earlier this afternoon. Geomagnetic storms are small disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field. These storms occur when the sun lets off massive bursts of energy and a flash of solar flares. Solar flares can disrupt radio signals and power grids. Today's storm ranked as a Category G2 geomagnetic storm, meaning it's moderately strong and could cause major issues with power supplies. Satellite signals could also be impacted during these storms. We have not seen any reports of any major disruptions as a result of today's storms. So take it away.
So Lauren goes, you can talk about this. I have noticed it's supposed to happen around 5 o'clock, so we're less than an hour away from this. But it can disrupt satellite transmissions. So if we were to do live shots by satellite, you might have a problem with that. GPS is something that people will be concerned with. You might see a little hiccup in that, but since this is moderate, it's not quite as big. I know they said the northern lights, so for people that live up, way north, northern Minnesota and into the Arctic, they might see a brighter and more broad northern lights or aurora borealis than they normally would. But for us, it's usually minor. The biggest issue for us would be power. If the power grid were to be affected.
So I don't have to worry about my GPS acting up on me
I was about to say,
when I leave work, because I'm still trying to find my way around here.
I mean, I've lived here for 2 years and I still don't know my way around. Jilton literally just asked me, now where do you live? And I'm like, you know that road? I don't even.
She goes, I don't remember the name.
I can't even remember the name. I'm so bad at directions.
I just know how to get home.
I just know which way to take.
That's so terrible. We need to get better at reading maps and all that.
It's because we use GPS all the time.
For everything.
It's true.
Literally.
It's true. I thought about that the other day. I said, I could tell someone you turn left on this or you turn right. Now I'm like, I don't know if I can because I'm so used to.
Yeah, you're buried in the phone. You don't even look at the natural landmarks.
Do your cars have GPS, or do you use your cell phones for that always?
I have Apple Play, so I just plug in my cell phone and then it plays on the screen in my car.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's nice.
Fancy.
All right.
Okay, I need that.
Let me get over here with my people. So that's funny. My car has it, but the maps get outdated in cars, and then they want you to pay ridiculous amounts.
To buy a new disc or something.
So I use my phone. I'm like, why do I even have that?
You know what I do? I make my husband drive.
My wife likes to drive over me because she says I don't drive very well.
Oh, okay. I'm not a good driver either. Well, if you're wanting something to watch tomorrow, you can watch Captain Kirk really launch into space. Actor William Shatner will become the oldest person to fly into space as he takes flight on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin New Shepard. Shatner and a crew will blast off on a 10-minute up and down flight. So if you'd like to see the launch, it's scheduled for tomorrow morning at 9:30. The flight will mark the second crewed launch of a New Shepard capsule since Bezos and his crew launched back in January. We'll be right back. I don't know if I would do that.
I think as much as I hate to even fly, but I think I'd have to.
I was wondering what that was. Do you think it's because my IFB and my mic are too close? That could be it. Sometimes it does that.
Was that me? I thought it was me earlier. I can never tell because I feel like I hear the crackles when I'm talking to.
Weird. I don't know.
This is the lily pad. We've done this.
We've done this one. And
You've probably heard the term, a leap of faith. In today's U Day segment, Coach Lamont talks about taking that leap of faith so we can live the life we've always dreamt of.
There's an old riddle that says 5 frogs are sitting on a lily pad. One decides to jump off. How many are left? If your answer is 4, congratulations, you have superior math skills. Unfortunately, this is not a story about math. It's about life. The correct answer is 5. Yes, all 5 are still on the lily pad. This is what so many of us face. The one frog decided to jump, but hasn't followed through. So many of us make a decision to do something, only to find reasons not to. It's time for you to move towards your decision so that the extraordinary life you realized can be lived. You are one leap away from the life you desire most, but you must be willing to follow through with that decision. It starts with a single step. Stop hesitating and start leaping. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best U Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
You waiting for a story from me
Yeah.
on this one? Okay, because I have
Some wise tales.
I'm listening to this and I thought, so mine's kind of the opposite. I was ready at one point in my career to make a big leap of faith, and I was going to quit where I was working. It wasn't here, by the way. I was going to quit where I was working, and I was going to go to California and just give it a shot.
Yeah.
Just see what I could do, right? Just go ahead and, it was that time in my life. I wasn't married, no kids, all that. And right before I was getting ready to do it, my boss got a transfer to another bigger city and offered me a job. And so I thought, well, I can't turn this down. I found out later what I was going to try to get involved in went under.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was like, to me, a sign that, you know, you need to be here, not there.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool.
I guess the biggest leap of faith I've taken is moving from Arkansas to Virginia for a
long
job.
way.
Never left, you know, anywhere around me, and I met my husband there. So
that's a leap
it
of faith
worked.
that worked out perfectly.
It did work out.
Kind of a similar story, not the husband part though, but like my first job, I moved 950 miles away from home for my first reporter gig in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Hadn't heard of the city before until I applied and got the job. So sometimes we have to just take those leaps of faith just to get our foot in the door.
I love, people are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, I love moving to new places. I liked that, like the early part of my career when I was jumping around from, I worked in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and I loved going to new cities all the time. I just thought it was fun and adventurous, and I've never really met a stranger, so it's easy for me.
Yeah, it can be really hard for people to take a leap of faith to move to a new city, but I think that in the end it's really good for you because it's a learning and growing experience.
Absolutely.
We're all still learning and growing, no matter how old you are. There's your wisdom for the day. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Chilton and Stacy Spivey.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching the 4 to 5 right here on News 2. Of course, a lot of you joining us on Facebook right now. Keep weighing in on the conversations that we're having. But before we get to some of those, we need to get to a lot of news happening around the Triad today.
Some big news with many Americans rolling up their sleeves for the Pfizer vaccine booster shot. Millions of others who received the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson vaccine wait for their turn. Federal regulators will begin tackling that question this week. Thursday and Friday, the FDA convened its independent advisors for the first stage in the process of deciding whether extra doses of the two vaccines should be given out. The final go-ahead is not expected for at least another week.
As the FDA reviews data from these companies, you may have heard people speculate a third dose means the vaccine is not as effective as companies initially thought. Dr. David Priest with Novant Health reminds us the point of third doses and boosters is to protect us from asymptomatic breakouts and mild cases of the virus.
I think we have to separate again, what are vaccines designed for? And almost all of them are really designed to prevent you from dying of that disease. So hospitalization and death is what vaccines are supposed to do. And it's funny, we're holding this vaccine up. We're asking more of it than we ask of any other vaccine, which is there's this sudden demand for, we want the vaccine to prevent me from ever even getting a mild or asymptomatic case. So if that's the standard, it's not a vaccine that's going to get you there. It's a vaccine that's going to keep you out of the hospital and keep you from dying like other vaccines do.
Dr. Priest said he wouldn't be surprised if we need to get a booster shot regularly like we do with the flu. Dr. Priest adds Novant is seeing a higher demand for third dose vaccines than first dose vaccines.
In general, that's true. I think because the individuals who want that third dose were also the folks who wanted the first doses. Now, I will say we saw some increase in demand for the first series when Delta variant became more prevalent. But I think, to your point, the population of folks who want that third dose are often the ones going now. We wish we had more individuals who are coming to get the primary series, but some of those individuals are just really dug in. And they've chosen not to get vaccine, regardless of what's said or events that occur in the society, and sometimes it's hard to change their minds.
Another item on the FDA's agenda, reviewing Merck's request for emergency use authorization for a pill to treat COVID-19. The company says the drug reduces severe illness in patients. When taken twice a day for 5 days, it cuts hospitalizations and deaths in half for those with early symptoms. One expert compares it to medicine like Tamiflu.
You come down with symptoms of flu, you get a test, and you have a prescription for Tamiflu quickly. It really does reduce the severity of disease and then the length of symptoms.
Treatment can be completed at home, which could free up hospital space. If approved, it would be available later this year.
In the meantime, our state's coronavirus numbers are improving. Check out the latest state hospitalization number. It's just over 2,200. This number is 78 fewer than yesterday, and the 18th day in a row we've seen hospitalizations decrease. Now, today's number is now in line with a number we saw back on August 9th, more than 2 months ago. The big difference between then and now, our current numbers are going down. Back then, our numbers were rapidly increasing.
As we move into fall and winter, there's a concern of what's called a twindemic, where the flu and COVID will hit us twice as hard. WFNY News 2's Megan Malares verifies a common misconception about the flu.
That sound means it is time to verify. We blinked and all of a sudden it is flu season. A new survey from the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases found nearly half of U.S. adults are unsure about or don't plan to get flu shots this year. More than a third say they never get the flu. But local infectious disease expert Dr. Cynthia Snyder said not to be disillusioned by the mild flu season last year.
So it's still very important to getting the flu vaccine. And on top of that, we know that masking had a big impact at reducing someone's risk of getting flu.
Flu season typically runs fall to spring and peaks around February. So last flu season, North Carolina's COVID mask mandate was in place. It wasn't until May when Governor Cooper issued Executive Order 215 to lift the indoor face covering requirement. Since there's no longer a mask rule across the board, we'll have to be more vigilant this flu season. So today, let's verify a common claim we hear every flu season. It's that you can't spread the flu if you don't feel sick. Our sources for this are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institutes of Health. Both sources confirm that claim is false. The truth is you can spread the flu virus silently 1 day before you develop symptoms and 5 to 7 days after becoming sick. Children and people with weakened immune systems can spread it longer than 7 days. And just like the COVID-19 virus, some people who contract the flu never show symptoms, yet they can still spread the virus to others. So the claim you can't spread the flu if you don't feel sick is false. You can spread it silently before you experience any symptoms. And that is why doctors emphasize the critical importance of getting your flu shot, ideally by the end of October. Remember, flu spreads person to person, most often through the air, but it also can live on surfaces like doorknobs, phones, and books for several hours. So hold on to all those extra wipes and sprays you've accumulated throughout the pandemic. You will put them to good use this flu season. With your Verify, I'm Megan Malaris.
If you see a suspicious claim floating around social media, take a screenshot, then send a selfie video or short paragraph of your question to verify at WFNY.com.
When it comes to flu numbers across the U.S., data from the CDC show a steady low number of cases every week since April. North Carolina doesn't start tracking flu numbers until the end of October, so of course we'll keep you updated.
We'll update you with the forecast as well. Comfortable temperatures, we're seeing mid-70s out there now. In fact, we've been a little bit on the warm side, hadn't we? I mean, you know, typically we see our average first freeze by October 30th. Now, I know we have a few more days to get there, of course, and we do see much cooler air coming in by next week. But the earliest we've ever seen a freeze, a hard freeze that is, was 1947. We hit it on October the 2nd. The latest we've ever gone without seeing a freeze, finally we had it on December 1st. And that one, not that long ago really, in 2009. But we'll watch for that average first freeze. We do not see temperatures in our forecast anytime soon that would lend themselves towards suggesting freezing or below freezing temperatures. That's probably a good thing, right? 76 in the Triad right now. Asheville at 78. Wilmington, beautiful at the coast at 71. Columbia, South Carolina, 78. And we have Lexington, Kentucky showing up at 77. All right, hour by hour heading into the night tonight. Finally, we'll break the 60s, we think, and this only goes to 2 a.m., but we think by the time we get to that 5, 6 a.m. time period, we'll see some temperatures in the upper 50s across the Triad and even cooler in the mountain communities. How about this, though? Clear conditions overnight, maybe a couple of clouds in the overnight period, but really overall, it's beautiful out there. If you look at our long-range forecast, you saw the clear skies on the radar there. We're going sunshine, 80 tomorrow, sunny Thursday, Friday, low to mid-80s, 82 on Saturday. Now, that's when things change a bit. A front moves by Saturday afternoon and evening. That'll give us a 40% chance of showers and maybe an isolated thunderstorm. And then it's cooler, 40s for lows, highs struggling to reach 70. That's for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Well, if you missed this yesterday, you have to check this out. Yesterday, we introduced you to Laura Ashley, a speed painter from Asheboro. Ashley joined us live on the 4 to 5 and painted us a picture during the show. So look at this. This is the final product. She painted a picture of us three with the WFNY News 2 and 4 to 5 logo. I'm just still amazed she was able to do this in under an hour.
It is incredible. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. The detailing is so amazing, but I had so many people reach out to me on social media and say, who is this girl? I need her to do something for me. You know, how incredible did she do?
Absolutely.
And she does that. I mean, she goes to events and does it on site. She said she's done them in as little as 10 minutes, which I don't understand how she does that. And she's even working on one where she says it's 3 minutes. I also like her style. If you look at that drawing, you know, they're not portraits, right? They're not supposed to look exactly like. It's a little bit more of an artsy, kind of exaggerated caricature type thing. I really love her work.
Yeah, she did a great job. I mean, take a look at those highlights. I mean, I think Chilton is like spot on. It looks just like you in that picture.
If I had those lines, I'd be like a ventriloquist. Yeah, that's what it is. She really did a great job. And to do that in, I think it was 50 minutes, that's amazing.
Yeah. Whew. Bravo.
Yeah,
Very
I can't
good.
even
Round of
hardly
applause.
do like a flower, so I can't imagine even trying to do that, much less in a time constraint. So really incredible. We were so happy to have her on our show yesterday.
Let us know what you think about the photo. Come join us on Facebook. Let's chat about it.
Halloween just around the corner, isn't it? My little ones are over the moon. If you ever really shop for a good costume, you know how expensive it can be, whether it's for the kids or for you. And that's when we turn to our friend Sarah Butner with Goodwill Industries.
Surveys have found that of people who like to make their own costumes, thrift stores are the #1 place to find the clothing and accessories that they need to make those. And Goodwill is usually the #1 choice. So, and the reason for that is because you can find things so inexpensively. And even if you're creating a really popular costume, you can make something really unique if you're putting it together yourself with things that you find at Goodwill.
Now, Sarah says when choosing a costume, you got to keep an open mind. You could look in departments that you might normally not think of and you find something you love. Also, be creative. And she said, especially if you're shopping with other friends, maybe you have a group theme in mind.
Group costumes are more and more popular. About 1/3 of people surveyed said that they intend to coordinate their costume with either a friend or a group of friends. So, and we know that pop culture costumes are also the most popular category of costume this year. So we created a group of costumes from the characters from Schitt's Creek, the Netflix TV show. That's falls into both categories, the pop culture inspired, and it's a really easy group costume to put together. And each of the costumes that we are wearing only cost about $10 each or less for each one.
All right, so I asked you on Facebook to describe your best homemade costume ever. Here's what you had to say. Some good answers here. Wendy says, when we lived in Florida, I dressed up my husband as the Pillsbury Doughboy. I like that one. Becca says, my mom made a Raggedy Ann costume when I was in kindergarten with a full mop head dyed for the hair and made the rest of the costume by actually sewing it by hand. That's a lot of work. Amber says, my mom dressed me up as a spider web one year. Dressed all in white. I had the web string all over the place and spiders in the web as well. Deborah says, jellyfish had streamers hanging from a clear umbrella and lights wrapped around it. Tammy says, all black attire with a shot glass necklace that said, a shot in the dark. Get it? I love those.
I like that. That's
I had a
funny.
friend once who wore a gray sweatshirt with a black letter P on it, and he had black around his eye like a black eye, and he was a black-eyed P.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's creative.
Yeah,
That's really
like
cute.
those.
What about y'all? I was Foxy Brown for like 4 years in a row. So the big afro wig had like the bell bottoms and everything. That's always an easy one to do, to be someone from like the 70s.
love Halloween.
I
So
do
one
too.
year my husband and I, we were Wendy Peppercorn and Squints from The Sandlot. So he had the big glasses, but this year I'm so excited. Baylor's first Halloween.
Oh, that's right.
Because we called her Baby Bee and she's our little bee. We're gonna dress her as a bumblebee.
That's perfect.
And we're gonna be beekeepers, and her big brother Wrigley, our dog, is gonna be a flower.
That's awesome. The beekeeper outfit with carrying that cute little thing around, please.
With our little bumblebee.
That kind of
so
reminds me,
excited.
my hairstylist, she was telling me, because she has twin girls, that she's going to be Corella and her daughters are going to be her little Dalmatians. So I'm excited to see her pictures. That's going to be super cute.
When the twins were little, I wanted to do Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Cat in the Hat because I thought that would be funny. My wife said no, but I thought that would be a cute one. And then I actually own 2 costumes. I bought them a long time ago because I said I'm going to keep these forever. I'll just use them for Halloween stuff. So one is Austin Powers, and the other one is Captain Kirk from Star Trek. So when William Shatner goes up tomorrow, I'll be watching that video.
Maybe you should bring out that costume.
Yeah. You should do we should dress up in costumes and do the 4 to 5 one day.
That would be so much fun.
Well, Halloween's on a Sunday this year, right? So maybe we can do it
We
on
could
that
start
Friday.
early
On
that Friday.
Yes.
Okay. Well, y'all let us know what your favorite costumes are right now on the Facebook feed.
Sounds like a deal. We're coming back. Stay right there.
Lights, camera, action. Theaters are starting to show more new movie releases on the big screen. WFMY News 2's photojournalist Manning Franks goes undercover to get us a review on No Time to Die.
After originally being scheduled for April of 2020 and then November of 2020 and then April again of 2021 and now finally October of 2021, Daniel Craig's final outing as James Bond has hit U.S. theaters. But the question is, does it live up to the nearly 2-year wait? Well, I got to see an early screening Wednesday night, and I have a review for you. A News 2 review.
I could be speaking to my own reflection. Only your skills die with your body. And life is all about leaving something behind. Isn't it?
Set years after Spectre, James Bond is living a retired life from MI6 after seemingly being betrayed by his former lover, Madeleine Swan. Now isolated from the world, Bond is unaware that a mysterious force has stolen an off-the-books weapon of mass destruction that could threaten the safety of global civilization. Called back into service by his former allies, Bond must use all his skills for one final mission. However, things get personal when a dark connection between Madeleine's past and the ruthless mastermind behind it all comes to light. No Time to Die holds the memory of the Craig-era films in high regard, and if you've ever been a fan of what they've been doing in the past, I have confidence you'll be on board for this 5th and final outing. I know I was. Director Cary Joshi Fukunaga mans the helm and takes a refreshingly deep dive into the tortured psyche of James Bond. Don't worry though, the film is not without its eye-popping set pieces mixed with classic Bond action that leaves your adrenaline running high by the end credits. The opening prologue alone is some of the best Bond we've seen. Yet this film doesn't necessarily want you to solely focus upon these fantastic production elements. Instead, it takes its time exploring Bond's humanity, not just as some suave cultural caricature. The highlight of this movie is undoubtedly Daniel Craig's performance and the script's meticulous consideration to his story. Craig wears the mantle of Bond like an old glove as he effortlessly slips it on one last time, only adding more layers to the timeless character. Although speaking of time, the movie almost comes in at an unjustifiable 3 hours, and while you would think that wouldn't be enough, the script really doesn't balance out its cast, and outside of Madeleine and James Bond, the rest of the cast comes across as one-dimensional and undercooked. No Time to Die doesn't proclaim itself as the best Bond film of all time, but as a swan song for the Craig era, you should make time to go see it on the silver screen. Because hey, you only live twice. I'm giving the 25th Bond film a News 2 approve. Your eyes can only see it in theaters for the time being.
I like that little tie thing he did at the end, but I'm so glad that he does these reviews because I did not know that this was currently in theaters right now.
I didn't either. I'm so happy that movies are back. I love going to the theater, sitting there, getting popcorn and watching a movie. I've only been once since everything reopened, but might have to go see this. Manning, I think you convinced me.
Yeah, I haven't been back to the theater yet, but that is something that I enjoy, just having like the surround sound, the popcorn, and just, it's a little different than experiencing it at home.
Yeah, it's just another outing, but I understand why people would be a little hesitant for going because you're all in there. But the place I went, they had seats that separated you from other people, so that was nice.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
We'll talk about our forecast now. I was blown away by Daniel Craig, so I couldn't comment. Actually, my wife, that's the only reason she goes to James Bond movies is for Daniel Craig. Just want to get that clear right now, but I love those movies. All right, let's look at our forecast hour by hour tonight. Heading into the overnight period, we'll drop into the 60s. We actually think we'll see some upper 50s by tomorrow morning. I mean, you're looking at that probably around that 5 to 6 a.m. time frame, so looking pretty good. Clear skies tonight and all day tomorrow. You can see the radar shows a lot of nothing out there. We'll go out to a wider shot. Notice the rain back over on the left side of the screen there. That will get here eventually, but that ridge of high pressure making for a great 3 days. I mean, tomorrow, you're looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, with all sunshine, and highs will be in the low 80s for the most part. We warm up a little bit. In fact, possible 10 degrees above normal maybe by the time we get to the end of the work week. So there's that overnight low of 59 degrees with that high tomorrow going up to 80 and lots of sun. It is absolutely beautiful. 7-day forecast there. The temperature is 80, 83, 84. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Lots of sun. Little rain Saturday afternoon and evening with a cold front moving by, maybe a storm with that, and 82. And then fall gets here, 69 on Sunday with overnight lows in the upper 40s and sunshine for Monday and Tuesday.
threats? If you know about any threats, make sure to call police or your school resource officer.
We saw it in Durham a couple years ago. Hey, I'm doing a mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in New York, like a couple.
Hi there, Kelly. A Greensboro woman relives the moment after police shot a man near her.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
This all started Monday here on South Elm Street and East Vandalia Road. Police say that
we were doing a quick mic change. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont.
It's time for my 2 cents. I saw a meme the other day that just really made me laugh. It said, "Who knew the hardest part of being an adult is figuring out what to cook for dinner every single night for the rest of your life until you die?" I don't know about y'all, but this is a huge struggle in my household. Here's how the conversations usually go. What should we do for dinner tonight? I don't care. Okay, what about Mexican? No, I'm not really feeling that. Okay, what about burgers? Well, we need to eat healthier. Salad? No. Okay, let's just order a pizza. Sounds good. It's really funny to think about it now, but when it's the end of the workday and you're hungry and you have a crying baby, or maybe the kids need to get their homework done before ball practice, it can be so frustrating. I asked you on my Facebook page if you're with me on this, and so many of you agree. Teresa says there's only so many things you can make. It is a struggle. I do veggie night sometimes, and crock-pot meals are lifesavers. Jennifer plans 6 meals on Sunday to get one thing out of her head for the week. Phil suggests calling Uber Eats, and Sherry, she just used these emojis. This week, we decided to plan out every single meal for the week on Sunday, and what a game changer it has been. While it may take a little extra time to figure out 5 meals at once, it truly has saved time and our sanity. There's not always going to be one meal plan that satisfies everyone's hunger, so maybe it is meal planning, takeout, or just ordering a pizza. You have to figure out what works best for you, your family, and your schedule. Okay, time to eat dinner. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Definitely disturbing, kind of eye-opening.
A Greensboro woman relives the moment when police shot a man near